Okay, today's video we're going to talk about why Google's broad match plus smart bidding is a terrible idea for you guys that are watching the channel to be able to get more sales from your campaigns. This is something that Google has recently came out with. It's in beta. Technically, we had smart campaigns before, and you could run broad match with a smart campaign. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the option that you have now within your campaign or within your account to be able to turn on the ability to run only broad match keywords. So there's no more match types in your campaigns. It's just because before we had exact match, phrase match, and then broad match keywords. What this is doing is just getting rid of match types, is what those are called, completely or altogether, and let Google take over using their ad algorithm to decide what keywords you should show up for and which not. Technically, your keywords are in broad match, but it goes further than the typical broad match. It's going to go, broad match was always, liberal with what people are searching for, what would actually trigger your ad. This is actually taking things a little bit further, and from what a lot of people are talking about in the industry is the general trend of where Google is trying to take things in general, which is the algorithm's going to determine, based upon the user's previous search behavior, if that person's going to buy, and then therefore the keyword's less relevant as what they think that person's going to do. And so keywords are always going to be an element of their algorithm in determining who's going to be the right person that's going to likely buy from you if presented your ad. But with that, again, they're leaning more and more on the user's search behavior instead of the keyword in it itself. So if somebody's looking to buy, get a new swimming pool installed in their backyard, typically Google could know if you were running broad match keywords, and just with the broad match keywords you got, swimming pool installation or swimming pool contractor would be the keywords that you want to target. And once people search for that, they know when you have an offer that you're advertising or putting out there that offers a swimming pool installation service, that would be a way to basically on Google on their side know somebody is right for your ad. They're watching all of the user's behavior prior to making any kind of search for looking for a swimming pool itself, and through looking at all the search data of all the people who end up on a swimming pool contractor's website to get a swimming pool installed, they look at all the other things that people are searching for. So if you have a keyword that's swimming pool installation, if they see sometimes people that end up going on to buy a swimming pool or get a swimming pool installed, they search for swimming pool ideas. At that point, when they know that they've learned that on their side, that a lot of people are searching for that, then when you have a keyword set up as swimming pool contractors, if somebody searches for swimming pool ideas, your ad will show up for that person searching for swimming pool ideas, given that they know a lot of people searching for swimming pool ideas go on to be buyers of that service. But again, it's not really tied to the keyword. It's also tied to the user's behavior beforehand. So they may also know or need to know that the person's not just searching for swimming pool ideas one time. They've been on other websites with swimming pool ideas on it, and then because they could track user activity with Google Chrome and Google Analytics. If they do all this other stuff to look at swimming pool ideas, and then they go to Google swimming pool ideas, they know that person's likely, through all their learning that they've done and the tracking of that person's likely to go on to buy a swimming pool soon. So your ad that technically is supposed to be for people looking for a swimming pool installer, they'll actually have your ad show up for that person before they actually make that search, if you will. And or a lot of times they'll know that person may not actually go ahead and search for a contractor on Google. They'll find a contractor other ways, but that person's going to be soon to be a customer through all their AI and their data analytics, that they'll have your ad show up for something that's not related to somebody looking for your exact service in that case, but soon to be a customer. And then that's kind of what broad match plus smart bidding actually is and does on the technical side, so you can understand this. But anyway, with all this said, you've probably seen or found out about this as it's a beta feature, this beta feature, as it was recommended to you in your Google Ads interface in the top recommendations for you, which is, like under the little bell icon in the top right hand corner of your Google Ads accounts. They have these recommendations that they want you to apply to your account. By the way, you don't want to just blindly apply those to your account. If you don't know what they do, study up on what they do on some blogs and stuff, get educated on this stuff, or hire somebody that knows what you're doing. Because if you start applying those just blindly every single time, you're making Google, Google don't kill me here, you're making Google more money and it's costing you, you're basically losing ROI, because a lot of those things are stuff that Google wants to do that, again, like this, it's in beta, that's not even really that proven yet, but they want data on their new features, and you're going to be the guinea pig. So anyway, this smart bidding, broad match plus smart bidding would show up as a recommendation. You would apply it. Also, Google's reps are telling people as well that you should start doing this as a way to get more conversions, or if you say you wanted more conversions, that would be one way they would recommend to you to do this. If it shows up for you in the recommendation section of Google Ads, it'll say to you that you can get, like 30% more conversions doing this through spending more money, if you will. But what it does not tell you is how much your cost per lead is going to go up, or your cost per sale if you're doing e-commerce sales or advertising in the process. So yes, it'll get your conversions to go up, but your ROI will be sacrificed in the process of activating this, and a lot, basically, which a lot or enough that for 99% of you guys, this is a terrible idea. And there's other things that you should do first before you even entertain the idea of doing this. When we see a client actually talk, to take a step backwards here, what we often see at our PPC firm, since we're running a PPC firm here, we'll have active clients that we'll work with, and Google rep will call them, and then they will convince them to do these recommendations that Google in the interface is already recommending, and then they get our clients to talk into just applying those, which we know they don't need those, and they're not going to help them achieve their goal of getting a cheaper cost per conversion or more conversions at the same cost per conversion. And we'll log into the account someday and see all these changes, and the results are off. When we see this has been applied through customers being talked into it, we'll see the cost per lead actually literally jump up by like 200 to 500%, or the cost per sale to jump up by 200 to 500%, which is the reason why this is a terrible idea for most and you don't want to do it. Not to say that the lead cost would not eventually come down, but who wants to run something with Google that's in beta, for God's sake, at a negative ROI for many months in order to get a positive return for what you're doing? People don't want to, waste $10,000 in ad spend to find a way for a campaign to get more conversions at the cost per conversion that you're profitable at, unless they're in dire straits and they need to grow their account at any cost. And so with that said, or should I say with that, you don't need to do the broad match plus smart bidding for most of you guys, or most of the time, to be able to get more conversions at the same cost per conversion or a cheaper cost per conversion, because you could first be able to run phrase match. The smart part of the beta of the broad match plus smart bidding looks at the consumer behavior more than the keywords itself, like I was explaining to you before how this works. And so what you'll do, and what will end up happening, is if you go ahead and you run this broad match plus smart bidding, if you look in your search query, search terms report, which shows you what people are typing in to see your ad, because there's two things. There's keywords and then there's search terms. Keywords are what you bid on. Search terms are what people actually typed in to find you. And so what some people will be able to get out of this, or what you can do when doing this, is the broad match plus smart bidding will give you a wider spread on the type of keywords, because in the process of what it does, this is also what it's going to give you. It'll give you a broader spectrum of keywords that your ad is eligible to show up for based upon keywords that they know generally is going to be able to get you in front of somebody who's going to be a customer soon anyway. Like the swimming pool ideas and the swimming pool contractor example I gave you earlier. So you could use that search terms report and the broad match plus smart bidding option that you activate on your account and get more keyword ideas to expand your account with. But you don't need to use broad match plus smart bidding here. You can just use phrase match bidding and get the same thing done and get it done way more efficiently than the broad match plus smart bidding. So, basically, in other words, if you're running exact match now, and that's all you're running, totally start with phrase match first to be able to get these keyword ideas. And generally speaking, if you know you have to run exact match keywords in order to get a decent ROI, then what a lot of people do, and what we'll do sometimes, is we'll run 10% of our account budget on a campaign with the phrase match keywords in order to get information on what keywords that will work that we don't have in our other campaigns that are running exact match. And when we find a keyword that converts in the phrase match campaign, we'll add that as a keyword to the exact match campaigns that we have that are 90% of our spend and are the staple part of what gets us our customers through our Google Ads account. So in other words, the phrase match campaign that we relegate 10% of our overall ad budget to, that campaign's not going to get us customers at a profitable rate. We know that. But we're investing money into getting keyword data that can give us information and new keywords that we can use to generate customers long term at a profitable rate once we know what those keywords are. So with that, if you were already doing that, what I just told you for phrase match keywords, and you already collected all the keyword ideas that you can get through phrase match, that's the time where you can use the broad match plus smart bidding and get potentially even more ideas. But for most of you guys, if you're running these phrase match you're running your keywords in phrase match, you'll never really run out of new keyword ideas to run ads off of for a very long time. We've got accounts where we've been running the accounts for 6, 7, 8 years, and we're still getting new keywords through our phrase match keywords that we're running to add as exact match keywords that are able to bring in new profitable customers and get ideas for keywords through those phrase match keywords to run as exact match keywords 8 years later. So of course the amount of new keywords you discover over time with the phrase match keywords will get to be less and less, but we'll still get a fair amount still on an ongoing basis. We don't have to use this broad match plus smart bidding to get new keyword ideas itself. And so therefore we wouldn't need, I'm not ever going to really be using broad match plus smart bidding. I haven't had a single instance where I've said to myself, we've gotten all the keyword ideas we can think of. We have no way to expand this campaign through the phrase match keywords we have to find more keywords that are more key phrases we can use as potential new keywords, to expand our account. We just don't get to that point ever. But that would be one situation where you could actually use the broad match plus smart bidding beta feature to be able to expand past what you're doing, if you will. Okay? So, and the people that I see supporting this new broad match plus smart bidding feature here say to use no negative keywords with your campaigns, which I'm going to tell you right out, this is absolutely ridiculous. Because the broad match keywords by itself is already very broad in terms of what type of search phrases that your ads are going to show up for. And, the broad match plus the smart bidding, I was getting my terminology mixed up here. Smart bidding is going to be even more so. So you for sure want to add negative keywords to rein it in. So if you are going to use this feature because you want more new keyword ideas or just a way you can't expand your campaigns, you're stuck, you just absolutely cannot get any more conversions, you want to use this to try to step it up, the first thing you got to do is literally every day for the first month at least, or every 2 or 3 days, go in there and add a shitload of negative keywords. You're going to go in there, and every single search phrase in the search terms report, you're going to add as a negative keyword. And what I do when I add negative keywords is if we find, going back to the previous example about the swimming pool installation company or contracting company, if we find that swimming pool plans, if we find that's in our search terms report, we know somebody's looking for the plans. That's probably another contractor looking for ways to build a pool for somebody else. It's not a consumer that's going to ever be wanting to buy a new pool from us in the future. We'll add that as a negative keyword, but we won't just add swimming pool plans as a negative keyword. I'll also dictate that we add swimming pool plans as a negative keyword, and then also plans itself as a negative keyword. So and the full phrase swimming pool plans as an exact match negative keyword, and then plans as a broad match negative keyword. Why? Because that's going to get us a more comprehensive spread from the seed idea that we got from that search terms report itself. So that's what you want to do to be able, and so you're getting as much honing in of your broad match plus smart bidding campaign as possible, and as little time as possible, so that the amount of time that you're running this campaign at a negative ROI to get ideas as little as possible, and you're not paying as much as you need to get these ideas, given the algorithm. Even though Google's algorithms are getting better and better all the time, and they can understand who's going to buy before they buy, and understand how to get in front of people that aren't necessarily typing in things that are obvious to you that people would search for before they would buy. They're still going to make a lot of mistakes, and you need to help that algorithm out. So the whole malarkey that you don't use negative keywords when you're using broad match with smart bidding is, it's ridiculous, basically. And actually, as a side thing to this, the same thing I could absolutely say about any kind of auto bidding strategies as well. So if you're using target CPA bidding or maximize conversions or maximize conversion value with target ROAS bidding, people will also in the industry will also tell you don't add negative keywords in those campaigns, and that's absolute bullshit. We know for a fact adding negative keywords helps the ROI immensely. And the reason why they pretty much are saying this is because they think Google's algorithm is going to be affected if you try to add negative keywords in there, and they want the algorithm to be able to run like it's supposed to run, so to say. You're going to end up spending a shitload of money on wasted spend if you don't add any negative keywords, and it's going to take a long, long time before Google figures out what you want to figure out. Maybe long term, over many years, not adding negative keywords will actually get you better results than adding negative keywords after Google's wasted so much of your money, so-called learning. But that's not realistic for the average person who has to usually, or for the most part, get a reasonable return fairly quickly. You may not, certainly with Google Ads, expect to get returns right away because it's too competitive in most markets right now, unless you're a first mover in a market or something like that. But you need to get returns in the first few months, and then from there build up. Not get a shitty return for a year to 2 years to 3 years. That's not realistic for most people. And not adding negative keywords, that's the reality of it. And a lot of people don't do conversion tracking or have the conversion tracking set up, so they don't even know they're losing all this money. So if you don't have conversion tracking, and therefore you're not paying attention to what this broad match plus smart bidding is delivering for you in terms of a negative ROI, you're going to end up be working for free for a long, long, long time before the algorithm that Google has catches up and learns enough from all the trial and error that their algorithm had to do to figure out which terms really worked and didn't work from what they were doing with not having negative keywords. So anyway, wanted to throw that in there as well. Now, a couple other things to mention about this broad match plus smart bidding. People who also are there's some people out there that say this works. People out there that say this is working for if you're doing lead generation, i.e. a two-step sale where you have to get a phone call or a form fill, and then you got to talk that person into buying, i.e. you're doing lead generation, not e-commerce sales, like where you're trying to get a sale through a shopping cart on your website. In that situation, a lot of people will say that when they turned on this broad match plus smart bidding, that they got more leads right away, and the cost per lead was okay. And what I'm going to tell you is a lot of this is people are just basically confused. I'm not going to say necessarily they're a liar, but if you go into the campaigns and then you go to the search terms report and then you look at the keywords that generated the so-called leads or conversions, you're going to see a lot of competitor leads in there, which the algorithm thinks, ultimately they're indiscriminate. They don't understand one competitor, if it's a direct competitor to you or not. Their algorithm's not that smart. So on a indirect competitor that isn't in the same business as you, they try out having your ad show up for people when they search for that competitor by name, and then people click on your ad and then convert into a lead mistakenly, because half the people who search for a competitor name, or maybe not half, but a lot, are going to click on the first ad they see without thinking that Google is going to be smart enough to just refer the best ad to them that's relevant to what they searched for without having to scrutinize it. They get to your site, they fill out the form, then now the algorithm's got positive data saying that your ad showing up for that indirect competitor's search result on Google generates a cheap lead. Now it starts showing up, having you show up for that indirect competitor's name more often, and then it gets more positive feedback, and pretty soon you're showing up every time for that indirect competitor. And then the algorithm figures out that people that are like that indirect competitor, or just in general competitor names or business names, because it generally can figure out, is this a business name or is this a product search or whatever. It starts having you show up for all these other competitor searches. With all those other competitor searches, the cost per conversion is less, because a lot of people are getting confused. They click on your ad and convert because they think you're the other company. And then pretty soon, half of your spend is going to people that you've got to actively waste time servicing and say, yeah, this isn't sorry, bye. Because most clients that I have and most companies out there, probably for sure with you, aren't going to be able to take a lead who thought you were the competitor, even if it's a direct competitor, and flip that into a customer. It can happen, but for the most part, if they're typing in the other company, then I can say, oh, this is not ABC Plumbing? Oh, okay, well, let's do business anyway. You might be able to do that, maybe not. But for most of you guys, you can't do that. That's going to be a waste of your time and money. And the algorithm's going to get you more and more of that shit, because those leads are going to be cheaper because of the high conversion rate you're going to get from a competitor, someone who searches for a competitor, and then because they were going to convert no matter what when they got to your site because they got a referral. You don't want to run broad match plus smart bidding because of that. So in other words, if you try broad match plus smart bidding and you're doing lead generation and the leads look like they're coming in at a decent rate and you're getting a lot of them, check your search terms report and see if you're getting a lot of leads from competitor searches. And if you are, or in addition to that, go look at your CRM or the leads coming in and see if your closing rate on your leads has went down. It's a very important thing if you're going to actually, be crazy enough to try to attempt this broad match plus smart bidding for your company. In addition to that, as to the side of that, people who say that this broad match plus smart bidding works as well are going to say that it brings in more sales, but a lot of these sales will be coming from brand searches. And the reason why we know this, again, is because when we have clients switching over their campaigns, or clients have came in and were using this when we audited their campaign before we started working with them, I could see this is also going on as well. And for their algorithm, it's not discriminatory. They just look for any keyword that's going to look like it's going to generate a low cost per conversion, or a low cost conversion. So your brand keywords are going to generate the lowest cost per conversion because they're all people that were at the lower part of the sales funnel, if you will, right? And we're the closest to buying from you out of all the possible searches that they could go for on Google. And so with that, even though your keywords are swimming pool contractors or swimming pool installers, going back to our previous example, they may have you, certainly show up for gyms, swimming pool installers, if that's what your company name is, or gym swimming pool company, or whatever, because it's broad match and so broad to begin with, you'll get the brand searches mixed in with the actual keywords you have. And that'll skew the numbers to look good on paper, but in general, your sales revenues aren't going up because all that's doing is you're cannibalizing the people that would have normally clicked on your organic search result are now clicking on your campaign that was supposed to be set up for non-brand searches for the most part, and you're getting brand searches in there with it, or it's taking away searches from your brand campaign that you have set up that's supposed to be for just brand searches, which, by the way, I recommend that you set it up that way. You want brand searches different than the non-brand searches because specifically you don't want to muddy the waters in terms of figuring out what works and doesn't work. You want to know, you'll have a target cost per conversion for your non-brand searches, and you'll have a target cost per conversion for your brand searches. And that's the easiest, best way to optimize things. So therefore, that's another reason why in general I don't like broad match as well, let alone all the other wild and crazy stuff that your ads start showing up for. Your brand searches get mixed up in with it, and you can't really optimize the campaigns that well, at least when you're starting to look at the campaign level performance, because it with the brand mixed in with it, you can't even tell at a surface level whether that campaign's doing better or not, because it could have simply had a higher proportion of brand searches than the month before, and therefore you don't know if that campaign's doing better this month or not. So that's another thing there. So you have to essentially pay attention, if you're going to do this broad match plus smart bidding, to the search terms report and see if you're getting a lot of brand searches or are you getting a competitor searches. You got to, if you're doing lead generation, you got to look at your close rates really carefully while doing this. Not just right away when you're seeing if it does work, but with this brand match plus smart bidding, at any point the campaign could start going off the rails and start getting more competitor searches. And so you have to keep looking at your lead quality on an ongoing basis. And for me, I don't like all that uncertainty in my campaigns. I'll run my exact match campaigns or phrase match campaigns sometimes, and I don't, even though there's all this other potential, I don't want to do it basically. And phrase match will bring in enough keyword data. We don't have to use the broad match just to get new keyword data anyway. And if we are going to do something wild and crazy like that, it's going to be one small part of our account and not the bulk of our whole account running on broad match, which that's an absolutely crazy thing for me to do here and would suggest for you to do as well. So unless you're, again, really can't figure out a single possible way through optimization of your ads to get another conversion, I would say just stay completely away from broad match plus smart bidding. Maybe someday Google's algorithm gets good enough where this is pretty good, but just as my cynical thinking here is that why would Google ever, the reason why they're coming out with this is they want people to spend more money. They don't want ads to be more efficient. They want them to be, from the standpoint that the few people that will do this, which they don't understand, like the fundamental points that I'm explaining to you here, they just want more conversions. They're giving it to them, but they're giving them to them at a higher price. That helps Google and Google's stock price. That doesn't help you necessarily make more profit, and the kind of sort of taking advantage of people that, which it's not, Google can do whatever it wants to do. It's up to the consumer to understand what they're doing and paying for. Google's just making a suggestion, hey, you should do this, and you can say yes to it or no to it. But they're kind of, in that regard, taking advantage of people who don't understand as much about cost per lead, because a lot of you guys that I talk to at our firm, I ask, how much do you need to pay for a lead to be profitable? And they have no idea, which is really crazy to me. So the person like that, and Google says you can get 40% more conversion switching to broad match plus smart bidding, they're taking advantage of the fact of the lack of knowledge that a person has, if you will, to be able to get more top line revenue for Google. So anyway, with that said, you can, certainly if you can't figure out any other way to grow your account, this might be a possible way for you to go. But I'll end it with also saying, there's not, to put things into reference, we have clients that contact us, and we audit people's accounts. There's never one time in the last 8 years that I started Guarantee PPC and have ran it where I've looked at an account and said, there is not one thing I can do to this account to get more performance. You see all the stuff that I know how to do to clients' accounts on this channel. And if you can watch my past videos to literally see the strategies we're using. There's only like 300 different other strategies you could do first that are better than broad match plus smart betting. And with that, I know all you guys watching haven't done all of them. So look into some other options first if you really want to get more conversions before trying this, is what I would say. That's the safety message that I'm giving to you, and the takeaway, if you will, for this video, and with the broad match plus smart betting option, if it's recommended to you in Google or by a rep. So I'll wrap it up with that. Hope you enjoyed this video. We have a ton of other content on this channel about other money-making PPC strategies that you can use, as mentioned, to make more money with PPC. It's the best, most actionable advice on YouTube that I know of to be able to actually make more money with PPC. A lot of these guys will talk about the theories of PPC and the features. I talk about how to make money with Google, with Facebook. So if you want to be serious about making money, this is the channel for you. We give you the actual strategies we're using to make money and that we're testing on a regular basis, as well as the stuff we test that doesn't work and loses a shitload of money. We also give that to you here. So you basically have millions of dollars of ad spend testing working for you just by watching this channel. So with that, you should definitely subscribe if you want to be able to be the best at PPC and definitely outdo anybody in your market. Just by using these strategies, you can do that. You should consider also liking the video, as it'll help us get the video out there for other people like yourself that can be helped by this video. I have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog that I've written where we go over step-by-step instructions on how to set up PPC campaigns the way that we're setting them up for our clients here at our firm to guarantee their results, literally speaking, since that's what we do here at our firm. If you want to learn on a more individualized basis on how to set up campaigns for good results, you can find supplementary information there. Whereas on this channel, we go at a fairly high level at things, explaining general ideas that work. There we give you more details on how to set up campaigns and stuff. So anyway, there's great extra information for you there if you're interested in that type of thing. If you have any questions about anything I shared today, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple of days' time. And so with that, I do have one last thing to mention before I let you go, which is we have a brand new program here at our firm where we're offering turnkey PPC campaigns. And what that looks like is we got great results in one market for foundation repair, where we're generating millions of dollars in sales at a great profit margin for a client there on the West Coast. You're on the East Coast, you want to start up a similar foundation repair company. Instead of going through all the hassle that we did over the multiple years to get those multiple millions in sales and at a decent margin and rate there, you can just literally buy from us the exact campaign we're using on the East Coast for your company you're opening on the West Coast, and it's efficient enough that basically right away you're profitable, and you, as we've had before, you can actually start that company up, outsource all the work to a partner, and you just have a website and a campaign, because we also give you the landing pages that work along with it, as well as the predicted results. You have a business ready to go out of the box, essentially. And we have many different campaigns in many different markets where we can show you the results that you could get opening up a business in a different market like that. Also, of course, we have product campaigns that are not being used anymore that you could use to open up an e-commerce business and just source the products and get predictable results for that type of business as well. If you're wondering what markets we have results for and how much results in those markets we can give, contact our firm. Maybe we've actually gotten results and we have a campaign template for your market already, because we've worked in many hundreds of markets now. We'll be able to get you hooked up with that, and that would be like a jackpot for you, because you don't have to go through all the stuff that we teach you on this channel. You can just use the ironclad thing that we've already got working and know what the results are. So if you're interested in that type of thing, you can reach out to our firm. We'll give you that information about what we have and what can be done. So I'll wrap it up with that. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on my next video where we have another fantastic idea for you to make more money with PPC ads, Google, Facebook, and so forth. See you there.